Hi, this is Dilip. I'm from third year CSE department and my register number is OR16CH094. Today our lab experiment 9 is about web technology lab is PHP database connection. Design a registration and login system in PHP using cookies and MySQL connection. Use MySQL database to show user details and cookies to remember user details in the login machine, in the local machine. Make the database connection, and this is the code we should be able to be write. And create a database member. If does not exist, refer create database PDF. Write the registration form and note that the password field, assume that you are storing a hex string representation of a hash of the password, so we should be using it in conversion. Using MD5 we will be able to convert that. I will show in the code. Display the people who have registered already. Use select query to retrieve all values from the database and display it on the browser. And similarly we have write the login form, write the reset password form. Now let's get into the code. I have been doing all these things in NetBeans IDE. I have created a PHP page. If you want to create a project in NetBeans, file, new project, and if you press this you will get into new project. If you give finish, and you can use PHP files by pressing the right click, and I have PHP file over here. Now the delimiter for PHP, as I have previously mentioned in the previous video, less than symbol, question mark PHP, and question mark and greater than symbol. Now in order to connect to my database, I have this is the keyword MySQL I_connect. I is like improved version or functions, and this is the variable which has this connect function, and this is the host name webtech.current.edu, and this is my username, this is the password, and this is my database name. If a host name is given as wrong, then it should be doing this spot die error. We already know that the usage of session. If you want to carry our data into next most pages, or in the third, fourth pages, we would be using session, whereas post and get methods help us to carry the data into next most page alone. And in order to use the session in each and every page, we should be using session_start function. Now I have created if clause over here is set $_post if it is del variable name, and then session should displaying about username, and session should be destroyed. If you are pressing the delete keyword, I will show you when I run the code. If I press delete, then it should be the username which was under that should be destroyed. And similarly if I press login, all the details are copied into username, password. As we know that dollar is the symbol to access everything in PHP or assign, and this keyword $_post or this username password helps us to create or get the data from the PHP page. And $password, as we have seen here MD5, it helps us to convert into hexadecimal values, and $password is the variable name. And similarly I have written a code for here to display everything from the table. Select star from user, where username is equal to $username and password equal to $password. If the things which we get from the database are getting stored into these variables, and in order to display the table, this is stored in a variable called $SQL, and in order to run the query, MySQL I_query is the helps us to run the query, and this connect is the connection variable, and this $SQL is the query which we need to execute. And $rows, and similarly if you want to fetch this is for rows to be written $result. Similarly if rows are greater than 0, then it should be displaying session username, else echo wrong username or password. If the session which we have created is not empty and it has some username, then we should be displaying welcome and username which we have entered, and you have been logged in successfully. Similarly we have one more heading like click here to log out, and we have some form action. If you don't want to go any page, then we kept it empty, or we can even have hash symbol. since I have done everything in the single page index.php, no need to have any action here. And similarly the method is post. As we know the basic difference between get and post, since post method helps us to have hidden everything and not show any data in the URL. Now input type is submit button. When I press the submit button, it should be able to submit else. And the PHP delimiter closing is this thing, as we can see. And we have a div id 1 form action method post and login page is over here. Enter input type username, and as we know that required means it should be compulsory, and placeholder helps us to have some data in the box, text box, whatever. And I have created a submit button, and name for that button is login. And one more we have registered below. And I have created one more PHP. If we can have multiple pages in the same page, as you can see over here, and this is for the next div tag. And as you can see over here, now if we submit and username, it should be able to, as previously mentioned, this username password. In order to run the query, I have copied that code into SQL. Select start from username, where username is equal to, and whatever you are giving, it should be able to display that. And result should be stored into result variable, and this is the connection variable which helps us to get connected to the database, and this is the query name. And if it is equal to 1, sorry, cannot be inserted. Similarly, if else, insert into the username, password, and values are username and password. This is the database column names, whereas this is the data, and it should be able to display the echo inserter successfully. And similarly, we have some other code for to delete from the web page. And we have, as we know, that style of mainly 3 types: inline styling, internal styling, and external styling. Here I have used inline styling, internal styling, under style tag. To have multiple, to give the style to multiple tags at a time, we can have comma and then separate with them with a comma. And if you want to use id, then hash symbol. If you want to use class, then dot operator. And we have given some colors and some styles. Similarly, I have one more div tag as 2, and form action is method, and since I don't want to do anything, and method is type post, as I have previously mentioned. And we have some form elements, and I have created one more SQL query, select start from user, to display everything from the user table. And user is here table name, and this is a query to execute the query that if it is if the rows are greater than 0, here rows, as you can see, that MySQL number of rows, which helps us to get the result. If they are greater than 0, then they should be displaying the content in table, and the delete option should be shown. Similarly, username, password. While this is a keyword to fetch some content from the result, and we should be displaying the data in the table. And we have one more submit change username, password. If you want to change the name and password, these are the content for that, as you can see over here. And the query name is SQL with update user set password to password2, where username is username and password equal to password1, which helps us to updated password to be shown in the table. Now the password has been updated successfully, should be displayed so that the user get satisfied that the password has been changed. Otherwise, the user does not exist if you give a wrong username, so it should be displaying that thing. And this is one more form element. Now let's run the code. As we know that in order to run the PHP code, we should be doing it in FileZilla web. This is the host name, username, password, and we should be including all the files into content and get quick connected. As you can see, connection closed by the server, so I should be connecting it again. So now you can see here directory listing of it, and the connection is successful. And as we all know that in order to create tables, Heal SQL can be used. And similarly, here host name and IP, or IP should be given, as we know that host name is webtech.current.edu, as I previously mentioned in code. and user is my register number. Sorry for that. And password is same, my register number, and database name is also same. As you can see, I have created a table under that user, and name of the column names for that is ID, username, password, and which helps us to have auto increment for the int. So length is set to 11. Similarly, in the data we have some content and ID for that. This is the table which get reflected when I run the code. Now to run the code, we should be having webtech dot and experiment name. As you can see here, you have a login page over here. If you are a new user, this should be registered below over here. Let's register first some name. Let's have some name as Sham. Let's whatever, if you want caps you can have in caps, or no need caps you can have that also. Now submit. As you can see that data in the table will be shown here. As we know that new content has been just came now, Sham, and we already have Dilip. If you want to delete something, you can press delete like this, and you can see that the table has been updated. Similarly, if you want to log in, you can have name and password for it. When I press submit button, you are able to see welcome Sham, you have been logged in successfully. If you want to log out, if you press log out, it will log out from you. As you can see, you have log out. And if you want to change insert details to change the password, let's check. As we are able to get, when I press this, you are able to get this is happening due to cookies. And if you want to have old password, we need to press the old password first, then we should be pressing new password and change password. We press the button and it will be automatically updated over here. Thanks for watching my video.